Hello everyone, welcome to the Autoimmune Dietitian YouTube channel. My name is Annie. I'm a registered dietitian and I work with people struggling with autoimmune diseases. In my work with my clients, I help them use both food and lifestyle as a way to improve their symptoms and hopefully give them a little bit of their normal life back. So I use elimination diets a lot to uncover food sensitivities and intolerances. They are the gold standard when it comes to these types of conditions. However, there is a lot of confusion and misuse of elimination diets, especially in the autoimmune space. This confusion can lead to things like food fears, disordered eating, and unintended consequences like more inflammation. So today I'm going to explain how to do an elimination diet in the way that it was intended, a short-term exploration of potential food reactions. So before I jump in, I just need to attach a disclaimer that the information in today's talk is not the substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. This is for informational purposes only. So please consult your qualified health professional for any changes you make to your medical care. Okay, so let's talk about why a lot of elimination diets are misunderstood. So elimination diets are for short-term use only, period. They should never extend past around 6 weeks. In fact, 4 to 6 weeks is the longest any elimination diet should be in the elimination phase, in which all foods you plan to eliminate are eliminated. I know that this contradicts some elimination diets like the autoimmune protocol, which allows for up to 3 months of an elimination phase. However, 6 weeks is enough time to really tell if you react to any of the eliminated foods. In one of the first AIP research studies, some participants reached clinical remission within 6 weeks of a step-down elimination diet, and that was even before they reached the full elimination baseline. Lastly, the goal of elimination diets is to figure out your food sensitivities. Removing these foods should result in an obvious drop in symptoms within a couple of weeks, if not days. Once you see an improvement in symptoms, it is time to add the food back in. Long-term elimination of foods is not helpful for many reasons. First, long-term restriction negatively affects the gut microbiome. Restriction also develops food fears and can lead to disordered eating tendencies. And lastly, long-term restrictions increase your risk of developing nutrient deficiencies. So let's talk about the different phases of an elimination diet. There are 3 distinct phases. There is elimination, reintroduction, and personalization. The elimination phase is what begins an elimination diet. However, it is important to choose the correct eliminations for your condition. If you are dealing with autoimmune diseases, the autoimmune protocol or specific carbohydrate diets are good options to consider. You want to start your elimination phase when you are ready and prepared. This means that you want to choose a time frame, again, generally 4 to 6 weeks, with few social engagements and or no travel. You also have already planned out meals and snacks, you've cleaned out your pantry, you've done the grocery shopping. You never want to start anything without having a plan. You also want to establish a symptom tracking method. This could be in a journal, on your phone, or a validated symptom survey that you might get from a healthcare professional. You need something to help you see positive or negative changes. Pick a few metrics that are relevant for your condition and develop an objective way to measure them. For instance, a number scale is a consistent and straightforward way to measure certain symptoms like pain, energy, and quality of sleep. It is important to be patient. Change doesn't happen overnight. You want to look for subtle changes that you may not expect. Maybe you're sleeping better, or you have a bit more energy throughout the day, or maybe that stomach ache that you thought was normal isn't there anymore. Those are improvement in symptoms that you might possibly see. The next phase is the reintroduction phase. So this phase begins after the 4 to 6 week elimination phase. And this is a phase that adds eliminated foods back into your diet to test tolerance. Reintroductions are usually the hardest phase to deal with and the most underestimated when people try to do elimination diets on their own. The key point to remember is food sensitivities are usually temporary. They don't act like allergies, and in most cases, your body can adjust, adapt, and tolerate to foods after taking a break from them for a period of time. However, you want to take your time reintroducing foods. A 3 to 5 day reintroduction schedule is ideal and works like this. You try that new food on day 1, and then you don't eat it again for the next 2 to 4 days. If something doesn't feel right, take it out of your diet, but try it again at some point in the future. Remember, reactions and flares are not always related to food. You could be dealing with more stress, poor sleep, a change in the environment. There could be 1,000 things kind of happening. So that is why it is important to keep testing foods that didn't work in the past. Symptom journals are really helpful for this phase, as are food journals. And if this feels overwhelming, you definitely want to reach out to a registered dietitian for help. The last phase is personalization. By this phase, you have figured out what foods aren't working for you right now, and now it's time to find alternatives that can replace the triggering food. For instance, if yogurt isn't working for you, find a dairy-free alternative that contains probiotics. This phase protects you from nutrient deficiencies and other imbalances that come from needing to avoid certain foods in the long run. So as you can see, elimination diets are a really important tool for uncovering potential food sensitivities, but they are not long-term diets. They should be used in a short-term manner, and then food should be reintroduced in order to, see if you are sensitive to certain foods. If you need more help managing this, because I know it gets very overwhelming for people, you definitely want to reach out to someone who is familiar with doing elimination diets. I do a lot of these with clients. I'm very familiar with it. I've done a lot myself. So if you would like to chat with me, I do offer free 15-minute discovery calls so we can see if we'd be a good fit for each other. The link to book that is in my YouTube profile, or you can go to my website, annierubin.com, and find it there. While you're on my website, there's lots of great materials in terms of like videos and education materials that you can take a look at and read. And then lastly, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the little subscribe button. These videos do come out fairly regularly and just trying to help you live better with your autoimmune disease. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.